I wanted to do this video so I could explain to my clients the difference between appraised value and market value. Guillermo Teran, Avanti Way, I keep getting asked a lot, what is the difference, right? And the appraisal. So in today's market, right, we have what we call appraised value, and then we have something called market value. What is the appraised value? When you finance the property, one of the requirements of the bank, so the steps in the process is that you're going to have your house to be appraised. So you have an appraisal to be done in your house. Now appraisers are bound to only use comps that were sold in the last 6 months and only comps that are already closed. They cannot use something that's called a pending or sales that are in the process of closing. Only closed sales. We're seeing in today's market that a lot of the properties are not appraising, right? Because the market is behaving so fast and the amount of inventory is moving in such a quick way that when you look at let's say you look at a neighborhood, there's maybe two units for sale or 2 houses for sale. There's like 6 pending, which is on the pipeline that are going to close in the near future, and they're probably going to close at a higher price, right? So appraised value, just to make that clear, it's when you're financing, you're going to get your house appraised, and the appraiser is going to use the comp of the last sale. But we turn to the other side, what we call market value. Market value is what the market is willing to pay for your house. So that market value is going to take into the factor of supply and demand. So let's say there's a neighborhood of 100 houses and there's only 1 house for sale, and you have 12 buyers that want to live in that neighborhood, and you put that house for sale, you're going to probably have 12 offers. The 12 buyers will probably offer, and they're going to probably raise the offer to see which seller picks the best and highest offer that he gets. Right, so that's in the market creating some confusion because a lot of, especially when you're financing, and this really affects the first-time home buyers or the persons that are coming in with an FHA loan or 5% down. You know that they don't have that much to give down, because what happens is, let's say if you offer for a property and the property did not appraise, that means that you're going to have to pay the difference, or your realtor is going to have to negotiate to try to bring the price close to the appraisal so you could move forward the deal. If you don't have, if you don't have any extra cash to actually pay for the difference. Now, if you're paying cash, which we're seeing in this market, a lot of people are, there's a lot of cash sales. I was looking at last month's report on condos, 45% of them were bought in cash. Houses, it's a little less than that, about 33% are being bought in cash, right? Because we're seeing also different types of buyers in the market. We're seeing your typical buyer, but we're seeing institutions, we're seeing companies like Zillow, right, that are buying cash. We're seeing a lot of foreigners coming in and they're bringing their cash and they're buying cash properties, right? So it's very hard to compete against those cash buyers, right? So basically, just to close this up in a quick summary of what we're talking about, appraised value, right? It's when they're going to look at the comps that were sold in the last 6 months within half a mile of the house, right? And they're based upon what the last sold. When we look at market value, that's going to factor in supply and demand, because there's people willing to pay over that appraised value. That's what we're going to call market value. And in today's market, I would definitely tell you that we're not going by appraised value. We pretty much are going with what we call market value. Sellers are holding on. If the property is not appraised, I mean, sometimes you have a good realtor that might negotiate some kind of way to move forward, but the reality is that most sellers are going to hold on and say, listen, well, let me wait for the next deal. And what you're also seeing in this market is this market is moving very, very quick, right? Inventory is rotating. Days in the market it's a lot quicker. So when you look at what we call pending, remember when you guys look at properties, when we send properties to our potential customers, buyers, right? We always see something that says active, which means the property is active in the market. We're going to see something called AC, which is active with the contract, meaning this property already has a contract, but it's in the early stages of the contract, inspection period, appraisal has not been done, so it's active contract. They're looking for backup offers, right? If it doesn't, once it goes into pending, it's basically at the last, pretty much when you're almost ready to close. So when you see a lot of places, you're going to see actives, we're going to see active contracts, we're going to see pending, and then we're going to see sold. So what you're seeing sometimes, you look at this neighborhood and you're going to see maybe 4 or 5 houses that are pending, means they're ready to close, and most likely those houses are going to close. They're going to keep closing at a higher price. I mean, we're seeing our properties, they're increasing, and we're seeing how fast the incrementals are happening in this market. So just to leave that clear, appraised value is what the appraiser is going to give, right? Which the bank is willing to loan in that property. And when we look at market value, it's basically what somebody's willing to pay for your property. I hope that was very clear. So if this was useful to you, I would definitely appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. Please hit subscribe at Guillermo Teran Group. And also, if you would like me to do this video in Spanish, more gladly, I could definitely do this video in Spanish.